Women face discrimination and violence on a global scale, including rape, sexual abuse, unemployment, and a lack of leadership chances. As a result, women are more vulnerable than men to discrimination, gender inequity, and stereotypes. According to the United Nations, around 87,000 women are murdered internationally by people close to them, equating to 6 women assassinated every hour. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more intriguing videos like this. And be sure to watch this video until the end. Therefore, anytime we upload a new video, you'll be notified so that you won't miss out on interesting videos from us. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 10. Yemen. Yemen is the most unsafe country for women in the world. Middle Eastern countries are patriarchal societies in which women face all forms of discrimination, including negative stereotypes, economic inequity, and discriminatory legal systems. As of 2017, women in Yemen lack the majority of cultural, social, and economic rights. They are unable to exercise their full civil and political rights. Women are likewise subjected to discriminatory legislation. A woman, for example, is entitled to half of the amount a man would receive as blood money. Furthermore, the legislation forces small girls into early marriage, forbids women from leaving their houses without the permission of their husbands, and permits men to have sex with their spouses whenever they choose, without granting the same right to their wives. Due to the early marriages and other forms of prejudice, girls are less likely to attend school than boys. Yemen's women's situation has deteriorated, more as a result of the country's present turmoil. Number 9. Afghanistan. 20 years after the Taliban was deposed, Afghanistan is still one of the most dangerous countries for women. The recent news of the Taliban taking over Kabul is terrifying for the country's millions of women. Education for girls and women was prohibited under the Taliban administration. Women and girls have acquired some freedom under the present rule, but that country remains dangerous for them. Most women are victims of abuse, with 90% of women victims of domestic violence. WHO 2015 report. Domestic violence includes murder as well as physical, psychological, and verbal abuse. Girls under the authority of their fathers and women under the authority of their husbands had limited freedom of movement. Although women are employed at every level in the country, they account for fewer than 20% of the labor force, and the majority of them are paid less than men doing the same job. Other kinds of discrimination against women include forced and planned marriages, as well as the restriction of marrying a non-Muslim foreigner. Number 8. Syria. Women and girls in Syria's war-torn country confront a variety of obstacles daily, with those in the north and northeast facing major risks. Women in Syria are a target for both security forces and militants who violate and deprive them of the rights. The country rates poorly in terms of reproductive rights, gender violence, familial treatment of women, and economic inclusion. The Syrian government has held over 3,000 women in deplorable conditions, with the majority of female inmates denied medical attention. Because their male relatives cannot be discovered, some women and girls have been held as hostages. Extreme organizations such as Jabhat al-Nusra and ISIS limit girls' and women's freedom and rights by forcing them to wear hijab and abayas and punish those who do not comply with the dress code. Number 7. Pakistan. Traditional religious and cultural practices, as well as spousal violence and discrimination, pose threats to women in Pakistan. Sexual violence and physical assault, mostly by intimate partners, are examples of violence against women. Over 70% of Pakistani women experience at least one type of domestic violence, with over 5,000 women killed each year. In 2017, there were 746 honor killings in the country. Non-Muslim girls are frequently abducted, abused, forced to convert to Islam, and then married off. Pakistani women face the most discrimination and have the least access to cell phones of any South Asian country, and in Pakistan, only 7% of women hold bank accounts, compared to 35% of men. Number 6. South Sudan. South Sudan is Africa's most deadly country for women, with the fighting exposing women to all kinds of wickedness. Millions of South Sudanese have been uprooted by the war, primarily women and children, exposing them to famine and other risks. At 47%, the world's most vulnerable new African nation has the highest frequency of domestic violence. Girls and women face high levels of violence and have few options of dealing with crimes against them. During the current civil war, violence against women has become even more pronounced, with soldiers employing torture and sexual violence as a strategy. Rape is used as a weapon of war in South Sudan. Several women have been abducted, raped, and enslaved. Aside from violence, women have limited access to financial and economic resources and are rarely included in positions of leadership. Number 5. Iraq. Although the Iraqi constitution prohibits all types of abuse and violence against women, the penal code discriminates against them by enabling husbands to punish their wives. Those who commit sexual assaults are also protected from prosecution if they marry the victim. According to the penal code, victims are frequently discouraged from reporting sexual assault and violence to authorities to prevent bringing shame to their families. Instead, individuals are encouraged to seek another, often biased resolution method. Although the law stipulates that marriage is only for adults aged 18 and over, the same law enables females as young as 15 to marry if the judge approves the marriage. Women are also discriminated against in family law matters such as child custody, divorce, and inheritance. In some situations, a woman's evidence in court is valued half as much as a man's testimony. According to Human Rights Watch, hundreds of women have been imprisoned in Iraq without charges since 2014. In Iraq, honor killing is a severe threat to women, with over 6,000 women being forced to commit suicide or slain in Iraq Kurdistan in 2007. Number 4. The Democratic Republic of Congo. Because of the ongoing conflict and traditional norms, the Democratic Republic of Congo is Africa's second most dangerous country for women. The women experience discrimination and assault, including physical, psychological, and sexual abuse. Rape and violence against women are used as weapons against communities in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Over 1 million women have been raped as a result of the decades of war. According to UN Women Africa, over 50% of women in the DRC have experienced domestic abuse and 40% have been wounded or threatened. Approximately 39% of women in the DRC were compelled to marry before reaching the age of 18. Aside from abuse, women are subjected to damaging cultural practices such as FGM. Due to extreme poverty and lack of jobs, women are forced to work under favorable conditions, including in mines. Number 3. The Central African Republic. The Central African Republic has seen decades of conflict with battles primarily between the government and an armed non-state group. The crisis has damaged not only government activities but also millions of women throughout the country. Women and children have been forced to evacuate their homes in search of safety in IDP camps in neighboring nations. Sexual violence is the top dread of women in the Central African Republic. Armed gangs around the country and in settlement camps frequently sexually abuse women and girls. In 2020, 24% of the 9,200 gender-based violence reports were sexual violence, conducted primarily by armed organizations and the rest by people known to the victims. The military and the armed groups sometimes torture women to reveal the whereabouts of their husbands or sons. Number 2. Mali. Although violence against women is widespread in Mali, religious discourse and social standards frequently hide the problem. In Mali, 1 in every 2 women aged 15 to 40 has experienced sexual or physical assault, with 79% of women viewing violence against women as usual. Women rarely report such abuse against them, and if they do, the community forces them to drop the case before they are convicted. Although it is illegal, forced marriage occurs frequently in Mali, with young girls being persuaded into such marriages. Approximately 20% of females under the age of 15 have been coerced into early marriages. Aside from violence, most women are likely to be subjected to damaging traditional practices, such as FGM, with over 90% of women undergoing the procedure. Number 1. Libya. Libya has a history of violence, and it has failed to put a stop to violent conflicts even a decade after Gaddafi's departure. As a result, women's achievements in political and women's rights empowerment have been reversed. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced as a result of the fighting, most of them women and children. Women in settlement camps confront several dangers, including a lack of privacy, safety, and harassment by government and militia groups. Women have also been subjected to sexual harassment and abuse, forced prostitution, and also gender-biased violence as a result of the conflict. Aside from settlement camps, GBV and sexual assault are common throughout Libya, with the majority of such incidents going unreported. Women are abducted from the streets or homes and subjected to rape and other forms of sexual violence. During conflicts, rape is used as a weapon of war to terrorize, punish, and warn the rival groups. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like it and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on another wonderful video from us. Till next time.